This week sees the start of cricket again in the UK. Cricketers young and old will be enthusiastically returning to the nets, eager to get ready for the start of the season. But this season's going to be unique. This year we will have had no winter nets and no opportunities for young bowlers to build up the load that gives them protection against injury. In a normal year, we would rely on the ECB bowling directives, which suggest that there's a limit to the number of overs you can bowl in a day and in a spell. So if we take that under 14, under 15 age group, we normally suggest that you can bowl 6 overs in a spell and a maximum of 12 overs in a day. And the usual guidelines around bowling no more than 2 consecutive days, no more than 4 times in every 7 days would normally apply. So on that basis, it would suggest that in this age group, you can bowl 12 overs a day, which is 72 balls in a day, a maximum of 4 times a week. And that would give us 288 balls a week. Wow, that's a lot. So where should we start? If we look at the Australian regulations, they would suggest that at first class level, if bear in mind these are seniors and they've had a pre-season training and they're used to bowling, if they bowl more than 170 balls a week, there's a 1.45 increase of injury. So for their junior guidelines, they suggest that you can, for the same age group, bowl still around 12 overs in a match. But they also suggest that there should be target deliveries per week of no more than 100 to 120 balls. But the bigger factor is that they also say that that should be based on a 4 to 6 week pre-season training load, which obviously for this year we're not going to have. So if we think about it, just because there's an upper bowling limit, does that mean we should start there? So should it be in line with the Australian guidelines, 100 to 120, or in guidelines with the ECB, even up to 288? Well, no. Unless you've had a gradual build-up, we shouldn't be starting there at all. If we think about logic from other sports and experience gained, if we were about to do a marathon, we would never start just literally without a training plan at the 26-mile mark. We would follow a graduated training program based over many, many weeks, involving strength and conditioning and alternating easier weeks with longer weeks as we gradually build up the volume. So it's time to plan. We need to think about how much, how often, and how hard. So how do I know what's right for me? Well, how many balls have you bowled in the last 4 weeks? Are you fit and are you strong? And have you had COVID-19 recently? So we know that whatever we've done in the last 4 weeks gives us the protection and the fitness for what we propose to do this week. If we're fitter and stronger, we can actually withstand greater increases in load. But if we've had COVID recently, that might alter our immunity and our energy levels and might mean that we need to have a slower return to cricket. So I put together some figures around, not based on research, but just on experience and logic. So if we took the younger age group of under 13s, we might be suggesting to them that they come back with literally just a couple of overs in that first week, only bowling once, and probably at 50% effort. As the weeks go on, we can afford to start to increase the number of balls or the intensity of those overs and the frequency with which we do it. But we suggest to you that you don't increase the intensity, the number of balls you bowl, or the frequency in any one session. So try to stick to the idea of increasing load by around 10% per week. But bear in mind that actually this year we may have to take more risks than normal in order to achieve the loads we need for the start of the season. But what this emphasizes is it's better to start slowly than find that 3 weeks in you risk an injury and miss the rest of the season. So the reason that we're doing this is to stop lumbar stress fractures. My aim is to stop lumbar stress fractures through education. So any child who has experienced a history of low back pain for more than 2 weeks is at high risk of a bone stress reaction. If we catch these injuries early, it is literally just a bone bruising and usually only requires 6 weeks out. If that injury progresses to a fracture, we're looking at 6 months out. So as these children return to bowling, it should be pain-free. We know that side strains also emphasise a risk for these bone stress injuries, and therefore any sign of low back pain or any sign of a side strain, we need to reduce the load down until we can get the bowler back pain-free. The aim of Angela Jackson Physio is to reduce the risk of lumbar stress fractures through education of athletes, parents, teachers and coaches, and help to eradicate stress fractures from the game.